Welcome, Leah. Really appreciate you being here. And so, before I allow you to introduce yourself, I just want to kind of front this with how we met. So, we were in an amazing event called Atomicon recently up in Newcastle. We took a few of our curious entrepreneurs up there, and we were adopted by the crew up there to say, bring some young people, allow them to get curious, allow them to speak to people and embed themselves in the community there. And a couple of our young people came to your talk, which was fabulous, by the way. And they were like, "Oh, wow, she's inspiring. Tell me more about Leah, Alex." And I said, actually, I've been following Leah for a few years on LinkedIn, and I've been watching you kind of grow. And I'm like, you need to go and interact with Leah and just understand more about her and what she's about. And Morgan and Bailey in particular were like super inspired by you. And firstly, thank you for giving them the time and the energy in the moment, because it means a lot to them. So that's how we met. What I'd like to know from you, and our audience would like to know that don't know who you are yet, who is Lea Turner, and how best can we introduce you?
Oh, it's a tough one, isn't it? I see myself as an ordinary solo parent who has a little boy who's just turned 8, and I went onto LinkedIn 4 years ago looking for some clients and discovered a passion and a natural ability towards marketing and harnessed it, and then had started having a lot of success, attracting a lot of clients, growing my business, and ending up teaching other people how to use LinkedIn to do the same. And 3 years after starting that business, I no 2 years after starting that business, I started a second business. Both businesses hit six figures within their first 10 months. They both are in the realm of multiple six figures per year now. Hit over 1 million in turnover in 3 years, which has been very life changing, because before all this, I was on government support. I was having help paying my rent and childcare for my son. So it's been from minimum wage to sort of, yeah, millions in a
Wow.
couple of years, which is a huge change. Yeah,
How does it feel when you say that?
especially for
Like how does that
a
what is
um, it feels really uncomfortable because I don't see myself like that. I still live a very humble lifestyle. I'm not a big spender. I don't dress flashy. I don't like spend a fortune on things. So it's quite hard to kind of get my head around. I don't think my mindset's quite caught up with the bank account, if I'm honest. Um, it's a very weird feeling because I'm a very introverted and private person in general, and I've had to learn to be um, open. And I'm open with people that I know that I trust, but I wouldn't necessarily say I'm an open person to strangers. But I started opening up and realized the response it got, and then it became something that was something that could make me money. And so I had to do more of it, and I had to kind of reconcile that. The version of Lee that's like the mum at home that likes her own space and privacy, to the marketable version of myself, which I also have to kind of make the most of in order to continue to provide for me and my son. So it's been an interesting learning curve over the last few years.
Wow. So interestingly, so I'd say 90% of the young people that we support through Curious Entrepreneurs and Inspired to Ignite are, when they start with us, they are neat. So they were not in education, employment, or training, which is exactly where you were when you started. So can I take you back to there? So was you say 4.5 years ago, when you're kind of on government support, you've got all that responsibility, you know, you said you come to LinkedIn to find more clients. What were those clients that you were looking for then, and what was the trigger that attracted you to that as a platform?
So I started my first business when I was 26, because I wanted to earn some extra money from my main job, which was just working in an office. I was an office manager for building consultants. Didn't earn very much, but it was enough to live sensibly, carefully. And I wanted to travel. I'd been traveling, saved up for a year and went traveling to Thailand for a month, and came back and went, oh my God, I need to earn some more money. I need to do this more. So I started a side business, and the only thing that I was good at was typing and spelling. So I started running a transcription business, and I would type people's like medical documents and market research reports and anything audio that people need converted before AI, because like this was before we had Otter AI and Scribe. Got out at the right time. So I would do that. I would sit for hours just listening and doing that alongside my full-time job. And 6 months in, I was earning basically the same amount in both jobs because the transcription was going really well. Should have been a clue that I was pretty good at like running my own business at that point, but I didn't register. So anyway, I left the office job to go out on my own. But when I had my son, I didn't want to work as many hours, and I was working like 50, 60 hours as a solo parent with no childcare when he was first born. And that meant like I was always tired. I was still always broke. And so when I went onto LinkedIn, I was trying to find more clients that were better paying clients and more consistent. Because I was doing like lots of little pieces of work for lots of clients. And I was like, I'd want big projects for better paying clients. And I want associates. I want to hire some other transcribers that will do some work for me, and I'll take a cut to provide them with the work. And that was the kind of idea that I had. I wanted to grow a kind of an agency model. And I did very successfully the first 6 months. I had over 100 inbound clients and grew my team to 5 people very quickly. But it all went south when COVID hit and my clients had no work for me.
Oh,
so
yes, that was another transition. So it's like, well, here we go, pivot
it was
now.
A kind of, it was not something I'd ever considered. Like, I never wanted to do LinkedIn training. I sort of thought, oh, I might write an ebook or something, because people keep asking me how I've done what I've done and how can I get all these clients? How am I getting all these followers? So I started putting my knowledge together into like analysing what it was I was doing and what was working. And a phone call with a lady who was in a similar situation to me, who asked me for advice, was what kind of triggered it, because she wanted advice because she'd paid a lot of money for some LinkedIn training and felt like it had been completely unhelpful, and she felt like she'd been scammed out of her money. And we had a phone call for an hour, and the advice that I offered her, she said, I got more value from that than I did in a training course that cost me £2,000.
Wow.
And I went, maybe I've got something here. And I was at a point where my business was, the transcription was not making enough money, and there was not enough clients because of COVID. So I thought, well, I'll give it a go, and the rest is history.
You gave it a go, all right. Really well. I mean, there's give it a go, and then there's dominate. I mean, bloody hell. Honestly, because Lynette, who's our marketing Swiss Army knife, who within our team over here, her title, she made that title. She's like massive fangirl. So, and I know there's so many. I mean, I just think it's amazing. I'm a big fan of building in public. I made a commitment a couple of years ago that I would post once a day on LinkedIn. I think do you know Joe Gannon, who's a common friend on LinkedIn, is a great guy. He kind of helped me out in a similar way and just inspired me.
Yes, because you might listen to this and be offended if I don't know the name.
Yeah.
But it sounds.
But
sorry, Joe.
No, it's fine. He's in that space, and I know, it's the power of that platform is just incredible. It is such a great tool for connecting with people and all of the functionality around it. I love it because I can post. I don't really look at like impressions. I do look a bit at like some of that stats stuff, but ultimately I can see who's looked at my profile. I can see, I can compare posts and the way that it's performing. I can see the sort of job roles that are looking at it's just incredible. It's like, and all I've got to do is put myself out there and engage in other people's content and stuff. And then I get all of that. It's like such an amazing platform. So, but I can 100% see, because I've seen it around on the circuit and stuff, there's a lot of rubbish out there in terms of advice, and a lot of training companies that are coming out and going, oh, we'll do a LinkedIn training and charge, like you say, £2,000 or whatever for it. So, okay, so you realised, yeah, this is me. I'm good at this. This is my vibe, and I know people are going to want to pay me for this stuff. That quickly escalated though beyond just helping one, two, three people, and next thing you know, you've got a community, because you've got a community, haven't you? And then you've got the training side of it as well, and then obviously you've got public speaking. So can you just give us a breakdown of kind of what does that business look like, and what proportion of your time is spent on what part of the business?
So initially, I was just training people one-to-one and charging them hourly. So I would do a couple of those a day. And then it grew to, I had to increase my prices. And then I started offering group training. So I would do like 2-hour trainings with a group of like 6 or 7 people. Then I started doing company training as well. So I would go into companies and talk to them about building their own personal brands to grow business brands. And attract clients. Then my prices for the one-to-ones were getting quite high at that point because I was really in demand, and and the results that I was getting for people were pretty outrageous. So it justified a price increase. I had to be bullied into it by the people around me because I felt horribly uncomfortable doing it. And then I started creating digital products. So I created content resources and digital courses and PDF books that sell on my website. I started with toying with email marketing. I started growing my Instagram as well, and then did a bit of public speaking here and there. It's not something I do masses of, but every now and then I'll turn my hand to that as well, and I do enjoy it after I get over the nerves. And then in June 2022, I'd been trying to start it for a while. Like I had it in my head that I wanted to do it. But one of the things that I really noticed and that I felt personally was that for solopreneurs and small business owners, when we start out, we're really lonely. And it's really hard to know who to trust. When you need somebody to help you, it's very hard to know who to trust, who's going to provide a good service. So we end up trying to do everything on our own. And so I decided that I was going to create a community that was affordable for small businesses and people just starting out, as well as anybody else that wanted to join, where we would network and share our skills, where we would offer discounts for one another for our services, where I would use my network to host masterclasses because lots of people wanted to be associated with my brand. So if I wanted to access some amazing experts, they would happily volunteer their time. I do pay them, or I offer to pay a charity of their choice, and they always pick the charity. So I donate their fees to a charity every twice a month. And it's worked incredibly well. And there were times I doubted it. But it's like we've got over 320, 330 members at the moment who are paying like a monthly subscription, which means my income's very sustainable for that. And I was running it alone to start with, but now we've had the success. I say we, now I've had the success with it. I've got a team that run the back end of it, so all the automations, any problem solving. I've also got a community manager in place that helps to field all the questions, because you can imagine with that many members, there's a lot of questions. But the best thing is that they serve one another really well, and they're always jumping in to help one another. And we do like LinkedIn clinics. They get content ideas every month. There's a massive load, and they're only paying £50 a month.
Wow.
So like it's totally affordable for small businesses. And realistically, I could increase the price, but that's not the goal. The goal was never make lots of money. The goal, I mean, obviously that would be nice. I'm not a terrible business owner, but I want to keep it affordable because it's the people who are at the beginning of their journey that are benefiting the most. But the people further on in their journey are also benefiting from the skills of the people at the beginning. And we've got people like, someone had a problem with an email that had to go out that night. Like it was really important for a launch they were doing, and they couldn't figure something out. And one of the other members is an IT expert and jumped on and at 9 p.m. and fixed it for her. And we had somebody who couldn't get an invoice paid for 6 months. And it was a really big invoice. And somebody else who's an expert in this got on a phone call with the client, and the payment was made within 5 minutes. And I don't know what she said. She won't reveal, but it worked. And you're like, that's the kind of community feel that I dreamed of when I started it. And it's been better than I ever expected, if I'm honest. So
That's awesome.
yeah,
Community.
it's
So
in
you're
terms of
serving. You're
time though,
serving
I
your.
like
Yeah.
sorry. I think we've got a little bit of
So
a lag between our conversations.
yeah, no, it's fine, it's fine. So community is the heart of everything there. Then, so community, that's a draw for you. Like you want to see people helping each other because you wish you had that. Basically, you're building something that you wish you had, which is the best problem to solve, right?
Yeah, especially as a solo parent.
What I heard listening to you and your kind of what you've got now, your empire, your solopreneur empire that you're building there is one word, and that's community. That's what sings to me, is to say, right, okay, you're now at a place where you've got this infrastructure, you've got this trust, you understand your role in that as a key person within all of that, but ultimately you want to see people helping each other. And we were rudely interrupted by a delivery driver a minute ago to say that they were dropping off a map. So explain, tell me more about this community. Tell me about some of these humans that exist within this wonderful community.
So we've got such a variety of people. We've got copywriters, digital ad specialists, PR specialists, HR specialists, lots of coaches, VAs, automation experts and business like development people, cybersecurity experts, solicitors, like literally anything that you could possibly need for your business. There is somebody in there that you can rely on that will go over and above to help you. And they will do that because you're a fellow member and because they know that if they need something, someone will do the same for them. And I'm not saying that everybody works for free for each other in there. They do quite frequently offer discounts, but if it's just like a quick thing, they will be offering people help for free. And of course, that person then raves about how great it was, provides a recommendation, provides testimonial, supports them, and it just creates this really, really strong bond between us. And it's magical. It's one of those things that you just think every single business should have that support work, because you start a business and you're like, I'm really good at doing the thing that I'm good at, the thing that I'm selling. But what about the marketing? What about the tech? What about setting up my email? And what about managing my finances and all of these other things? And suddenly being good at what you're selling isn't enough. You've got to have all these other skills. You're not making enough money yet to pay an accountant and a VA and a tech person and automation people. But if you have those people already available to you and they're endorsed and backed by other members, you don't have to go trialing and finding fault with like 3 other services before you finally find a good one, and wasting all that money and time on discovery calls and trying to work out if you're a fit. If you've got someone there and everyone else says, these guys are good, go for it with them. There you go. That's the person. Now I'm done. And that speeds everything up. You can grow quicker and better and safer if you've got those people around you. Plus, you have the community cheerleading you. We've got a channel in there called Wins, and people go and literally just share every day. Multiple people will put something in there that's just gone really well for them that day. It might be a client win, or they've made some money, or it might just be something really simple, like they're having a bit of a bad mental health situation at the moment. So today they actually got out of bed and washed their hair, and they're celebrating it as a win. And other people encourage them. And sometimes that's all you can manage. And the fact that we've got this group of people that like are comfortable, because there's no judgment in there. There's no ego. There's no who's better than who. It's just, and it doesn't matter. Some of them are making millions. Some of them are making a couple of hundred, but they're all in it together. And like, wouldn't the whole world be better if it was like that? It's like I've created my own little happy world of people, and we're living in this little bubble where we can support one another. Yeah, I wish I could live in it. Because it's much nicer than the real world.
Well, yeah, I mean it's brutal out here, and that's the thing, isn't it? It's say, they
Yeah.
say the saying that was kind of emerged through COVID was, same sea, different boats. Everyone said we're in the same ocean or whatever, but it's not the same ocean. Sorry, it is the same ocean. We're just in different boats. And sometimes I've been in business for a long time now, and I've had different business partners and been part of different communities as I've grown through that. And I often
Mm.
think of that as, sometimes you'll be on a journey and you'll go alongside someone for a little while, and they might only be there for a year or 2 years, 3 years, because they're part of that journey. But
Mm.
ultimately, if they hang around, if they can just be aware of what other people are doing. I call it co-grow, collaborative growth through community. It's about challenging the norm of, the classic saying is, put your oxygen mask on before you help others, and that's great advice. But ultimately,
Mm.
what if we lived in a world where you could assume someone's going to put yours on, and you can then prioritize other people? That would be like the ultimate, version of safety. Would
Yeah.
just be a lovely place to be.
I just think back on like the way the world used to be hundreds of years ago, where everybody in a village had a role and everybody's role supported other people's roles, like natural ecosystems, right? Every animal in the natural world has a purpose. And if we lose one, everything falls apart. And you think humans were supposed to be like that originally as well. Everybody would have a thing that they did and it would benefit the people around them. And now we spend too much time out for ourselves. And and quite rightly, because like the world is a brutal place these days and we have to take care of ourselves and our own. But there's room for both and we can do both. And if we prioritize both, what we get back is way more than we probably give out. And that's what I've experienced. And that's what the people in the whole that I've witnessed are experiencing. The ones that are giving to the community are benefiting from the community even more than the others that, just come in for the masterclasses and don't really engage very much. The ones that are actively in there, they're the ones making thousands of pounds in referrals from business from other people in the community. So, yeah, it's nice to just kind of lose myself in that world for an hour a day and get to know people and build that community, because community is power. It's accelerating your business quicker. It's learning together. It's fun as well, which is hugely beneficial. If you want to be good at your business, if you're smiling every day and you've got that respite of a conversation and a laugh with people a couple of times a day, like you would on the coffee machine if you're in an office, like that's what it is for me. It's like a giant online co-working space where we all,
Mm.
chat and get along and support one another and offer advice.
Sounds lovely. And who else are you going to high five? I always say that as like people that are like so insular. Like, well, who do you high five when you
And
win? Like, I love that wins channel. I want to be in that wins channel. That sounds fun.
yeah, it's hard, especially when you're a solopreneur. Like often, especially if you've got friends that aren't, business owners, they don't get it, and that's no detriment to them, but they don't get that buzz that you get when you make a sale, or how shit it feels when something doesn't go right, or you launch something and people don't grab at it, or a client gives you bad feedback, or how good it feels when they give you good feedback. They don't get that because their business is that they just get paid either way. They get paid, right? If you're an employee, no matter how good or bad your week is, you're still getting paid at the end of it. So I think it's really important that you have those people that aren't going to think you're bragging when you go, I just signed a 5K deal. They go, holy shit, well done. That's amazing. And that's the response that you need to keep you going. Not, all right, shut up. I only made £1,000 this week. Don't talk about money. It's crass, blah, blah, blah. You can't
Yeah.
have that when you need those people to cheer you on and go, next one will be 10 grand. It pumps you up, keeps you going.
So interesting. So I would like to know, because you've developed a community there, out of your own kind of need. You've found you've built something there to serve yourself, and maybe now is serving a self of you that you remember and you understand, and clearly that's like part of your journey. Why not?
Mm.
Why didn't you join another community? Did you try? Did you? Are you part of other communities? What, because it seems like you are. you've got this. I always say that your comments. I love spending time in your content. Like that's your community. Like that's it's probably expansion on that closed community that you have. There's a lot of positivity in there, and a lot of support. You can clearly see the echo of you and your energy within that community. You were there other places that you tried that didn't work out, and can you help me understand that side of things?
No, I've never been part of any other communities. I've never signed up to any at all. I wasn't
Really?
interested in doing it. No, because um, I don't really know why. It didn't even occur to me, to be honest. I was like, hey, I want to create something that's people like me that are fun, that are sarcastic, that are silly, that are not necessarily don't feel like they fit in the corporate world. Um, and haven't found a place where they can be weird and silly and have fun while networking. And I mean, maybe there are places like that exist. I'm sure there are other communities that are like that. But it didn't really occur to me to join somebody else's. I was just like, well, I'll start my own. Because I was already kind of creating a community around me on
Yeah.
LinkedIn. So I
It
was
was
like, well,
organic
if
anyway.
I've
Yeah.
one, what can I do? And I think that was where it kind of originated was, yes, I had a need that I wanted fulfilled, but also my LinkedIn community have got me to where I am. Like, yeah, blah, blah, my hard work and all that. Yeah, I get it. I've done a lot of it as well. But unless people had started turning their head and going, hey, I'm interested in what she has to say, I would not be sat where I am now. So I think the initial sprout of an idea came from, what can I do to give back to this community that is affordable, that is beneficial, and that is something I will enjoy running and they will enjoy being part of. And so and it's always about the joy for me. It's not about the money. It's, will I enjoy doing it? Because I've got ADHD. If I don't enjoy doing something, I'm not going to do it. So I was like, if I'm creating a community, it has to be one that I'm going to enjoy being part of, not one that I just facilitate but don't join in on. Like, selfishly, I wanted somewhere that I could use as well. So yeah, it. I probably should have done some research and gone into other communities,
No,
but
no. I'm just
I
curious. Like, I think that's the best
I
way. I
think the
think you.
best things are not. Yeah, you don't want to be. I didn't want to go into other. Like, now I look back and I think, if I'd gone into other communities, I'd have stolen ideas or be influenced by what goes on in there, rather than it all coming from what I know is right for me. And if it's right for me, there are lots of other people like me that resonate with my mission and my journey and my attitude. So those are the people I want to attract to it. So I'll build the thing that I need and be really open with the members when I want to make changes, or I'm thinking about implementing new things. I ask them and get them to be part of it, because I don't see it as my community. I see it as our community. And so their input is important.
Nice, yeah. So you kind of got a co-creative process by design now because it's just a natural progression of it. Okay,
Yeah.
so now future. So I saw a post on LinkedIn the other day from you, and you said something quite bold, and I really resonated
Mm-hmm.
because the timing of it was really weird because I kind of, we're recording this a couple of days after I made a decision to step down from my last CEO position. I've had way too many the greys here, you see. I've done this for a while now, and I've decided that now is my time to move on from doing what I'm doing, and I'm moving more into a supportive position around the businesses. And I saw your post. I was like, that's really just a weird timing. I must ask the question when I get you on here. Future year from now, I'll let people go and find that LinkedIn post. But future year from now, have you had any further thoughts? Because even then you were like, I don't know what that means, but I'm putting it out there. I'm making a statement to the world and saying, I don't know what I'm going to be doing a year from now, but I'd like to. Has that percolated since you posted that?
Um, so much of where I am now was never planned. Like, none of it was planned. I didn't when I So in 2019, I had no idea what was going to happen in 2020, that the world was going to be shut down and that I was going to completely pivot my business and discover a talent for marketing and all of these things. Had no idea. And when that first started happening, I had no idea that a year from then, and that I would be training companies and starting community and making thousands of pounds on a weekly basis selling digital resources. Because at the time, I'd never even downloaded a digital resource, never mind created and sold one. So for me, the big thing is always staying open to opportunities and not being so rigid in my dreams and desires that I have my eyes closed to other possibilities. If I had not kept my eyes open and my mind open in 2020 and 2021 and 22, I wouldn't be where I am now. I'm happy to switch directions. I'm happy to take a different path. What I'm not happy doing is anything that makes me unhappy. And so for me, trying new things and going, we'll see what happens. Like it doesn't scare me as long as I can pay my bills. But at the end of the day, I know I've got the skills to go out and get a job if I had to, right? Like now I actually know that there is a good backup plan. I could get a job. My kid's in school. I could manage. So any risk is not really a risk. It's just trying something new and going, oh, well, didn't work, and trying something else. And I know I'm in a very privileged position to say that, and it's not the same for everybody, but I don't want to die not having gone for things and tried things and experimented and found the thing that made me happy. And at the moment, while I enjoy LinkedIn training, I love the clients that I work with, but I am repeating myself on a weekly basis. And while I love the people, I'm ready for a new challenge. I'm ready to push myself further now and try different things and not have a business that relies on a social media platform that I don't own. It's not my platform. If I lost my account, I'd lose my business. If something happened to LinkedIn and people stopped using it, or it shut down, or something else took over, that's my business. So I'm going to have to pivot at some point. I can't have a business that relies on a platform and my presence on the platform and other people, pulling the strings. I have to not say, don't say that, you might lose your account. Like, then my whole business goes down the drain. So that always plays on my mind. And as a sensible business owner, I also don't want to be the face of my brand forever, because that's not sustainable. I don't want to be an influencer on the internet. I use that in inverted commas because I hate that word. But that's not me. That's not what I've ever wanted to be. It's not what I want to remain. It's lovely to be able to communicate with people, and some people will say that I inspire them, and that's lovely. But it's also never really been my goal, and still isn't, and still very uncomfortable for me to be put on a pedestal by strangers, essentially. So yeah, I want a way out of that eventually as well.
Interesting. You're an
Big
explorer.
confession.
You're an explorer.
Am.
You've got some, yeah, interesting. So the question, if Sam was here, he would ask this question, so I'm going to ask it on his behalf. So on that basis, then, what currently sparks your curiosity outside of what your day-to-day looks like?
Creativity. Like my heart and soul is creative, whether it's with words, with imagery, creating. I used to be really into like creating art, and I lost that along the way. And just ideas for brands, ideas for generation. Like I can sit with somebody on a coaching call and we'll talk about what they do, and my brain pings with content ideas, and they just straight out my mouth, like floods of them. And I would love to have something where that is all I do on a daily basis. I sit with people and they give me information, and my brain forms marketing plans and ideas, and I don't really know what the label is that you would give a job like that. But I feel like I want to get my teeth stuck into being more creative, and maybe that's running an agency of my own that's more based on content creation. I don't know yet, but that's
Mm.
exciting for me because it's like now I've put it out into the world, opportunities will start presenting themselves or ideas will start coming to me. And that's when I go, oh, yeah, I'll try that and I'll try that. And I'd like to get into investing as well. Like, I would like to invest in some smaller businesses and see what I can like learn a bit more about investing. There's some other opportunities that I can't really talk about yet that have popped up that are interesting to me as well. But the main thing that I want to still be running and growing is the community. Like that's not something that I'm going to leave. That I'm going to grow and grow and grow and potentially split it down into like localities, like split it by country to start with when we've got big hubs of people, then maybe down by cities. So we can start like still benefit as a global, as a whole community, but also have like local communities where they can do meetups and co-working days and body doubling and like all sorts of things. I'd really love to do that. Just like a genuinely lovely community of people worldwide that you know when you meet someone who's also a member, like the BNI, but not shit.
I call it
All the
BIN.
BNIs. No, it's the is it BNI? Is that
It
the
is.
one?
I nickname
Yeah,
it. I nickname it BIN.
yeah. I've heard a few people say similar. No, I don't know. I have no experience with the BNI, so I shouldn't really
I
judge.
do have
But I've
experience.
not.
I do have
Yeah,
experience. It's not I did not. It's
it
not
just
what
all
you
seems a little
described.
bit. Yeah, it doesn't sound somewhere I'd
You wouldn't
fit
thrive
in.
there. You wouldn't thrive there. I would say if there's ever a description of something being stale, male, and pale, then I would probably label that there.
Yeah, they don't like me very much, the stale male pale, but well, no,
No.
they either like me like in the wrong way, or they hate me and want to. Yeah, I mean, I get the messages from them, and they're one of two ways: they're either trying to manipulate me and condescend to me, or fuck me. So it's one of the two, and I'm neither are interesting.
Yeah, we'll
I put
leave them over there for a bonus episode at some point. That's a whole different conversation, isn't it? Oh my god. Oh my god! But I tell you what, with what was nice there listening to you was when I asked you that question, which is why Sam is the king of questions when it comes to that. What sparks your curiosity and you led yourself down a path of just discovering that. It's just a lovely place to be where you can be. I think when you've got perspective on life, which you clearly do, and you know where you are and you know where you've come from, and you're very grateful. You're clearly very grateful for where you are. It allows you to be thoughtful of your future and be again even more grateful for the opportunities that come your way. And I think if there's a message to young people that are when they do come through, so some of the young people you met at Atomicon, they are kind of they're a bit further on in our program. They've got their income sorted. They're kind of floating in life, figuring out what's coming into the future. I think listening to you then think about yourself in the future, not knowing what it looks like, but being excited by the prospect of finding out. I think that's a wonderful place to be in life, and you should be very proud of that. I think that's lovely.
I think it's something that comes from the fact that when my son was born and all through my 20s, I had just enough, but I was happy. So, and my job didn't spark it, like I wasn't ignited with passion for my job, but I liked the people that I worked with and I could do the job. I didn't live in anywhere fancy, but I had a roof over my head and I was warm and could feed myself. I had good friends and I could save up to go on a holiday once or twice a year. I had everything I needed and I was truly happy, and I'm still truly happy, but everything else is a bonus. Loving my work, that's a bonus. Having more money than I actually need, that's a bonus. And so I'm not afraid of losing those bonuses because I know I'd still be happy. Like, the happiness doesn't come from the things in the bank account. The happiness comes from appreciation and gratitude for the life that you have and like the people that are with you in that life. So I think when you look at it like that and just realize that, this is all a bonus, you can risk that bonus. You can gamble the bonus for a different bonus because it's only a bonus. You keep the money in your bank, and anything else. Now, if you go gambling, right, I'll take £100, go into a casino, and I want to keep that £100. And anything extra is my prize that I take away. So when I gamble that and I win 20 quid, that 20 quid is what I gamble with for the rest of the night. And I'll make that into £100, £500, £1,000, and then I'm leaving with more. But I only walked in with £100, and that was enough. And that's how I look at it. That's how I always look at life. And, switch up the bonus, risk the bonus for a different bonus if it doesn't make you happy. But just make sure that you've got money in your pocket still.
Love that perspective. Beautiful perspective. I really love that. And I know young people that are listening to this will enjoy that. So let's talk about young people and entrepreneurship. So just conscious of time. We've got, so I gave you some stats before we were having this conversation about some of the young people we're working with. There are 800,000 16 to 24-year-olds that are currently not in education, employment, or training in the UK right now. Yet we're talking about, if you turn on the news, and I tend to avoid it if I can, but if you turn on the news and they'll talk about the employment crisis and there's a skills shortage in this one, it's like, well, there's 800,000 young people here waiting to be activated. Well, guess what? They're not going to be activated by the education secretary. They're going to be activated by listening to people like you and sharing their passion. What I won't say advice because I don't think that's the right question. What would you tell your 18-year-old self if you were in a room with them right now for 5 minutes?
I think we'd have a serious talk about not trying to live up to other expectations, but trying to set expectations of myself. I think I would definitely say, don't listen when people say you can't. You decide what you're capable of, nobody else. Because I spent too many years with people saying, you'll never get a good job with all those tattoos. You can't look like that. If you get your nose pierced again, no one's going to hire you. You can't work in corporate. You can't do this. Fuck you. I'm working with corporate people these days, a lot of them. And I'm neck to toe in tattoos. So don't tell me what I can and can't do. But I let that infiltrate my brain for way too long. And so I self-restricted because I believed what people had told me. So I definitely would say, do not ever let anybody tell you what you are capable of or not. You decide that. And if you don't feel capable yet, learn. Seek out people that will teach you, that will show you, that will inspire you. I would also say to myself that you need to surround yourself with two main types of people. Those just behind you that you can help, because by helping those people, you will give yourself confidence. You'll go, oh, wow, I actually know more than I realized. When you're giving those people advice, it makes you really register how much you are aware of and how much you're learning. Also, people that are ahead of you, not loads ahead of you, just ahead of you. So they can be that person to you that you are to that person behind you. Then also surround yourself as much as you can, whether that's just by listening to podcasts or going to talks or going to places where they're going to be and having conversations and asking questions. People that are way ahead of you, people are where you really want to be, and let them light that fire underneath you. And that's exactly what I've done with my journey. Every time I speak to someone behind me on the journey, I feel my confidence boosted and go, oh my God, I didn't realize I've actually learned loads of stuff. I'm better at this than I thought I was. When you realize you can communicate it with others. And then I'm constantly looking at people ahead of me and never being jealous, never being envious, just going, look at what's possible. If that person can do it and their life doesn't look that different to mine, why can't I? And I'm going to try. And that's probably been the biggest key to my success and to building my confidence and self-esteem and driving my ambition, is having those three different versions of people around me.
Oh, I love that. I absolutely love that. That's beautiful. And that's a lovely way to finish as well. Well, thank you for being that person ahead. Thank you for looking over your shoulder and taking a moment, whether it be at a Tomicon conference, in the bar, or on this podcast. Taking the time for others is, we have a shared value, and it's appreciated. It means a lot to our community, and a massive hello to your community, because there's Yeah, I'm looking forward to that party at some point. We have to bring some curious entrepreneurs to one of your parties. I know you're quite
Yeah,
renowned
and the
for a
next one's in
party.
Manchester.
Yeah,
8th of December is the next one. And you're
party.
more than welcome to bring some along. Yeah, it's going to be, yeah, we're going till like 3 a.m. this time. So it's going to
Awesome.
be
We'll be there. We'll be there. So how? So it may be a silly question, but you may have a different answer to what I expect. So where can people follow your journey beyond this episode?
If they go to my website, if any of the listeners want to download any of my free resources to help them on LinkedIn, they'll find them on my website, leaturner.co.uk, Leah without the H. Instagram, pretty active on Instagram with LinkedIn tips, and I'm obviously all over LinkedIn. Don't go on Twitter though. Twitter's just my random thoughts verbalized in a what feels like a safe space because I don't have a big following there.
Well, that
So if
sounds
you
like
want
a
the
curious.
sarcastic version of me, that's where you should find me.
I'm going to go check that out. I'm definitely checking that out. Okay, well, brilliant. Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate your support over and over again. And yeah, we look forward to building this relationship with you and your lovely community.
Love it. Thanks, Alex.